G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you are all doing well out there. Pretty crazy week. Lots of lawsuits, lots happening, markets dropping, volatility is back in Bitcoin, and of course we've had a little bit of action from some of the big institutions this week. BlackRock, ironically, has filed for a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, this is big news because no one can get an ETF approved, and the SEC are trying to, it's obvious now, and I'm not going to go into it, but it's obvious now that the SEC are either being paid off by the Democrats to spoof and get rid of the market via the big banks, or they're trying to dump the price so Wall Street can buy up all of the exchanges and assets. But it's a real 180. Old Larry Fink, these guys play their cards close to their chest. They lie constantly in front of the camera. They do the opposite with their funds. It's all very chaotic. And quite frankly, this is the best time for them to be getting in. Now, we don't know if this is going to be good or bad for Bitcoin. I would say incredibly good short term, and for this cycle, this will be incredibly good. Obviously, they're going to try to buy all the Bitcoin and take over this thing, because there's some fine print in the registration that says that they can create a hard fork and try to drag the Bitcoin in the way of their fork. Now, we all know that this is, they're just new to this game. They're not going to get that done. I figure that they're maximum going to be able to get some of 2 or 3% of the supply if they're lucky. They've been buying MicroStrategy, just for the record, like it's going out of fashion in the stock. So they've been pseudo into Bitcoin for ages, and no one really knows. All you get is FUD, and it's designed to keep you from buying at a low price, and it's designed to make you capitulate and sell your position while these guys buy your stack. So that's the same story it's been forever. Now, the greatest tell this week was when there was Tether FUD. That was when we hit 24,800. Anytime there's Tether FUD, you should buy, because that is literally the marker of the bottom every single time. And Tether is backed by so much. It's literally got a war chest now. So I wouldn't really worry about Tether at this stage. Just trust your conviction and make sure you do. Now, back to BlackRock. This was the latest article. BlackRock files for spot Bitcoin ETF with Coinbase as a crypto custodian. Now, this is in June 15, 2023. Check this little doozy out. You can see here in 2017, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink calls Bitcoin an index of money laundering, and then you can see the new title down below of his latest offering. So these guys now, this sector now, are going to go through their own cycle, and we're going to go through the same thing again. They're going to go buy in. They're going to think they can make the changes. They're going to try to change the block size. It's just a story that never ends. Every cycle, it's the same. And the only way that you get around this, quite frankly, is to go through multiple cycles. Everyone has to go through multiple cycles to learn about Bitcoin. There's just no other way, I don't think. So apart from Michael Saylor, who's managed to just buy at a bottom and hold forever, and he's got to get to the top of this run, and he could be incredibly wealthy in the scheme of things. But yeah, it's a funny situation. So let's just see how this goes with BlackRock. They've got to get approved first. They've got to beat GBTC to get approved for their ETF. GBTC are also suing the SEC. SEC are having a big fight with Ripple. Ripple is useless, but it's irrespective. Gary Gensler is being accused of being on the books. This is the messiest thing I've ever seen. And either someone's very fearful of it, Bitcoin, or I just don't know what's going on. But it'll all come out in the wash, and just time is what we need. So be patient, stack on these dip opportunities, and hopefully we can all walk through the gates together. So another big factor in all of this is this continual push about the dollar reserve currency status, which is in decline. Now, there's lots of news this week, and Yellen she says the quiet part out loud quite regularly now. We've got the BRICS nations building their own sort of reserve trading currency that they want to do. The US obviously don't want to lose their hegemony of the US dollar reserve. And there's all sorts of, chatter back and forth about this will happen, this won't happen, this is not going to happen, China can't do this, China can't do that, China's going to take it over, this, that, and the other, BRICS this, gold back that. It's just chaos. And there's a big elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about, and that's Bitcoin. And it's the only trustless, unit of account in all of this. So I do think it's inevitable, particularly for energy between the countries. I can't see how you can trust, some of these 100% inflation countries with a gold-backed currency. That's just not going to work. And we're going to be in the same boat that we're in now. So look, there's a lot of interesting discussions going on, but we'll keep an eye on these with Yellen. So I think this is also really understood. There's a lack of understanding about this national debt issue. It's just such a big factor. And this chart from Croesus, it took 215 years for the US debt to reach 7 trillion. And so far, over 7 trillion has been added since March 2020. So you can see basically from the chart, we're on some sort of parabolic move, and they keep raising the debt ceiling, and it's all theatre in the end. This is the same principle as you having a credit card and never ever paying it off, or you having a mortgage and you just keep drawing down on your house and getting more in debt. It's a spending issue, but they're going to try to increase their revenue by taxing you more and making things more difficult. And it's just going to be a persistent battle back and forth until the thing collapses. No one has the appetite for austerity. Now, austerity in this situation, to get this back down to sort of normal levels, is a catch-22, because austerity will mean a collapse in the housing market and a collapse in a lot of other asset markets, which will then destroy the private debt sector. So if you destroy the private debt sector, then the banks go under, the banks fall in, implode on themselves. Everything doesn't work if it's not inflationary in this environment. The world is built on debt in this system for the last 80 years. The world is built on debt. Think about what I'm saying. So if we have deflation, so the prices of everything come down, then what happens to the debt? Everyone goes bust. So they can't allow that to happen. They have to keep inflating. Hence why they're going to keep printing more money. Hence why they're going to keep throwing more money at you and at the zombie companies and at the, and at all anything they can throw money at, they're going to throw money at it. And that's what we need to be prepared for. So what does that look like for the future? Expect this chart to go directly up. Straight up. We'll see 50 trillion in debt. It's going to come sooner than you think. But this is why we're in Bitcoin, because it is going to suck up a lot of this money. Let's not kid ourselves. All right, let's dive into the chart quickly. You can see here we've had a bit of a break. Now you can see on this line here that I've drawn in, we have been in a little bit of a downtrend on the daily, and that's sort of fair enough. This was a big level here. I haven't got it marked in, but sort of 30, 31, 20, between 28 and 31 was a really big level historically. It goes back sort of 5 or 6 years as a quite a powerful level on the chart. And combined with this sort of level, we had all that FUD. It was just ridiculous. But on the weekend, we sort of pushed out. We bounced off this 25, or got to 24.8 or whatever. We pushed back up, and it's just going to be interesting to see this week. It sort of looks, like we might be able to have a bit of a run through and wait for the stock market to peel over. I think the stock market could go up for a bit, or it has to rest at some stage. It's just out of control. The S&P is out of control. So whether that, blow-offs a little bit, sort of by August, and then it falls back down. I think Bitcoin may be able to find its way out of this sort of murky water phase, break through the 30, then push up a little bit higher, and then it'll probably roll back over as we come into the end of the year. So I don't know. we just got to keep stacking these opportunities and just see where we go. We do want to try to not break this structure now below 20k. Anything below 20k, and then we may retest the lows, but I highly doubt we get to 20k. It's just too many buyers now. There's just too many buyers. So the CBBI, you can see, as this is my favorite chart. It's got it all on there. CBBI confidence is 24. We've rolled back over on the confidence scale here. I don't mind that. I don't mind a little bit of consolidation. I would much prefer a 2015 like cycle, which was just a constant up, sort of smoothish up. It actually was really bumpy along the way. There was 30% drawdowns, but it was quite smooth comparatively to the chaos of the last cycle. We had the Ponzi FTX, sort of manipulating the market. We had COVID. We had this massive early pump. It was all happening. And it was sort of a bit too chaotic to make good decisions on, but yeah, let's see what happens. It's hard to not find this cycle is going to be an interesting one. Everyone knows about Bitcoin, everyone. And so, I just don't know. It's just going to be an interesting one. You can see fear and greed sort of ticking back down. We needed a reset of sentiment, I think, and we've sort of got that. I'd like to see it in the high 30s, but I just don't know if we're going to get there. So, fingers crossed. We don't have a little bit too much over exuberance. It looks like open interest is still a little bit favored to the long side, which is not great. Open interest usually works in an inverse relationship to the price. So if there's a lot of long action, derivative trading this is, there's a lot of longs built up, usually the price will go down to liquidate them. It's just how the market works. It goes on the most capture of profit. So it's a funny thing, the market. Interestingly, however, in this sort of last phase, we have had some serious stacking done by the smaller cohorts. So this is the shrimps, crabs, and fish wallet sizes. And you can see they've been combined into this one red, this maroon line. This is the combination of them all. They've been stacking hard. So they've got these are the wallets with under 100 BTC. They've stacked through this little last phase here at 248% times the amount of newly minted Bitcoin that is produced by the miners. So sometimes people say to me, listen, well, the Bitcoin price is sort of hovering around this mark. What happens to the halving? And Croesus produces a lot of good articles and commentary on this. So if you're looking for some deeper thought, go to his Substack and subscribe and read his pieces in detail. But basically, in a nutshell, the buying pressure that we have currently is obviously enough to buy up all of the newly mined Bitcoin and the sell pressure generally that comes from GBDC and whatever other entities are selling on a regular basis, but it's mainly the miners. So if you've got this much money going in every day, and this is just the shrimps and the little guys, but if these guys are buying 200+% of the miner supply, new miner supply, which is 900 coins a day, these guys are buying 2,000 coins a day. Let's just be rough with that. What happens when we get to the halving? That is down to 450 a day, the newly available supply of Bitcoin. So the price is naturally going to go up. If we can hold these prices now, it's very, very simple to see that the price is going to go up. It's just a natural state of affairs. So good to see. Love the little people getting the BTC stacks. This is the bigger cohort. This is the 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin folks. They've been stacking hard too. They're up an additional 38% over the top of the mining supply. So this is another cohort that are buying. We've got MicroStrategy buying on behalf of all of these people that don't want to hold Bitcoin yet. We've got Larry Fink obviously stacking Bitcoin. I mean, it's impossible to not see that there's buying happening. This is an accumulation phase through and through. Really interesting chart went out this week. This was from TXMC. I've been following him for a little while, and he's producing some good stuff on YouTube. He's very in depth, and he's a smart cookie. These are the returns of the cycles and the following drawdown. So the returns are in the green, and the drawdown, subsequent drawdown in the following year is the bear year in the 4-year cycle. And these are our cycles. And you can see the returns that have happened from the bottom to the top. And it's interesting. There is a very strong discussion about diminishing returns, so that as the longer the cycles go on, the smaller the percentage gains of each cycle. Now, that sounds great in theory, and you could warrant that could be true, but maybe this time it might be different. The altcoin reckoning has happened. People have probably wised up slightly to the altcoin game now, and it would be better to see just a concentration of funds into a few projects, or mainly just Bitcoin. But look, it's something that we can see over time, and no one's going to know how this pans out. But it's a very interesting set of charts. The ironically as well, the drops in the drops from the top to the bottom also have been diminishing as well. So I don't know. I'm interested. This is going to be a really, really interesting 20 years, 24 and 25. So, let's see how they go. Now, I thought I'd just do this 2023 year. This is a 6-month comparative between some of the big names. So this is Bitcoin, Tesla, Apple, S&P, and the DJI index. You can see basically Bitcoin's still ahead, only just of Tesla, mind you, but it's had a funny year. It had a great run, and now we've had sort of this 30% decline, or 20% decline, sorry. And so, we're halfway through the year. What happens for the rest of the year? Do we get a little push? Do we just continue to fade, or just go sideways? No one knows. And I guess the message here is just to be patient, do your time, get to the halving, get to the end of 2024, and then you can start to make some more decisions. And I'll be there with you all the way, the whole way. I'll be holding your hand, and there's a ton of people that will hold your hand along the ride with you and give you great information. Don't get cute, just stick it in a hardware wallet. It's going to get harder for a period of time to get money into the system, so you want to keep as much as you can in there, and just sort of see what happens, I think. This really does describe the process beautifully. You can see here days, the chart is chaos. It's volatile and crazy. Then when you look at it over the years, it is smooth and up to the right, smoother and up to the right. Then when we get to the decades chart, it is just a parabolic move up. And I know that it's very hard to look that far into the future, but that is Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin. This is what it's designed to do. So hang in there. It's going to be harder to DCA because some of the banks are going to make it a little bit tougher for you, but if you can get some stacks across, I don't think it's such a bad time. So keep going, keep holding. All right, I'm going to leave you there today. This is a lovely little animation of some variation in the supply that comes out. It shows the epochs, the duration at the top, and how much longer, how many more epochs we've got until all the Bitcoins are mined. It's got the difficulty and the hash rate, both in linear and log, and it's got the price. It's a really, really nice thing to see, and it'll help you rationalize the continual growth that Bitcoin has. It is up and to the right. And don't forget that it's a very powerful place to store your wealth. All right, that's it for today. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video with someone who may find this information a little bit useful. Good luck out there. I will see you next week. I'm back in the zone now, so I'll see you next week. Stay well. Good luck for now. See you later.